At this time, I'd like to again introduce you to your president and invite him to the podium, Dr. Glen Blodgett.
Thank you, Craig. I want y'all to know that I got chided a little bit in our Texas caucus this morning for the length of address I gave in there, but I told them I was going to make up for it later this morning, so hopefully you won't be too bored. Well, I grew up in a small town in the Texas Panhandle on a farming and ranching operation, and as a young boy, you know, I really enjoyed the ranching segment. I quickly decided that I had a passion for horses, both horses and cattle, and all that the Western lifestyle embodied. I wanted to be a cowboy in the worst way. And growing up, I also took a liking to veterinary medicine, particularly with horses. Spent a lot of time shadowing, riding with local practitioners in the area, and really became attracted to that field as well. And then later went on, we received an animal science degree at Oklahoma State University, and then on to Texas A&M for my doctor of veterinary medicine degree. My breeding business, or breeding attraction to breeding or involvement in breeding actually started in 1964 before I was still in high school. I purchased a mare with the help of my father, Miss Sandy Clegg, a daughter of American Quarter Horse Hall of Famer Billy Clegg. And from there I started raising foals and never looked back. In 1982, I became the resident veterinarian and manager of the horse division at the 4 Sixes Ranch in Guthrie, Texas. And I'm proud to say the ranch has become an all-time leading breeder in both racing and performance American Quarter horses. And in 1993, won the Best of Remuda. 1993 won the Best of Remuda award. I've been very active in the association for a long time because the American Quarter horse is very special to me. I was very humbled and honored to be asked if I was interested in being considered or nominated for the executive committee, and if my peers felt I would have a positive impact, I was willing to give it a shot. I got the blessing from Ms. Marion, the boss, and in fact, she supported me 100%, and that really meant a lot to me. While my start in the equine industry began nearly 50 years ago, our association was formed decades earlier. In 1940, a few great horsemen and women shared a meal and a common goal to preserve a line of horses that we know as American Quarter horses. And for those of you that don't know, Ms. Marion's mother, Ann Burnett Tandy, and her father, James Goodwin Hall, were two of the horsemen who discussed this idea of forming an association along with some other folks for the Association for Steel Dust and Billy Horses. In fact, the first meeting was in the home of Ms. Tandy there in Fort Worth, which Fort Worth continues to be our headquarters, ranch headquarters today. These horsemen were looking to improve the future of our great horse, and whether they knew it or not at the time, their work would forever change the equine industry. This past year as president was a memorable milestone not only to my life but also for AQHA. As we celebrated our 75th anniversary, it is my goal as president to learn from the past 75 years and take the necessary steps to ensure our association will continue to flourish for the future. It's truly been an honor to serve on the executive committee and as your 2015 AQHA president. And I'm very proud of what we've accomplished as an association during my presidency. And as y'all know, shortly after I began my role as AQHA president, Craig Huffines began his role as AQHA executive vice president. I couldn't be more pleased with Craig's enthusiasm, knowledge, and passion for the equine industry. And with the new executive vice president came more leadership changes in October of this past year, with the creation of the now known AQHA leadership team. And if you're in the room, will you please stand as I read your name? Treasurer and Chief Operations Officer, Trent Taylor. Chief General Counsel, Chad Pierce. And Chief Show Officer, Pete Kyle. Chief Marketing Officer, Lauren Walsh. And our new Chief Foundation Officer, Brent Davison. Chief Publishing Officer, Carl Mullins. And also filling in on an interim basis in our racing department is Jen Perkins. Jen, will you stand also? These individuals and their teams are very talented. I believe through the leadership abilities and skills of Craig and these chief officers, along with their supporting staff, great things are in store for our association and foundation in the future. As y'all may remember, one of my top priorities at all times is the health and the well-being of the American Quarter Horse, and continuing to put our horse first. I felt it was my duty to take a stand on animal welfare for the protection of the horse and for the future of our breed during my time as AQHA executive committee member and as well as president. Last year, AQHA implemented the multiple medication violation system, also known as MMVS, in the racing industry. With any new program or rule, the association continually evaluates the cost and benefit of the program to ensure that resources are devoted in the most effective way for achieving the goals of the program. The AQHA Executive Committee recently decided that the time was right to conduct a thorough evaluation of the MMVS prior to allocating additional resources to the program. At this time, the MMVS, as many of you know, will be temporarily suspended. During the temporary suspension of the MMVS program, AQHA will continue to collect medication violation data on American quarter horses for the purpose of tracking violation trends. I believe it's imperative we address the performance enhancing drugs in our industry because we continue to see a significant number of rulings from multiple jurisdictions which are simply unacceptable. Craig will be sharing those numbers with y'all later in more detail. This year we took a strong stand against the abusive use of clenbuterol in show horses. I can say, I graduated from veterinary school in 1974, and clenbuterol is probably the most abused drug I've seen in use during that whole time frame. Clenbuterol became a banned substance for show horses in November 1 of 2015 and is no longer reportable on a medication form. The executive committee has approved significant fines and penalties for those found guilty of its use. We continue to look at ways to curb the use of clenbuterol in our racing industry. It's a very important issue, and that continues to change with how racing jurisdictions and regulatory agencies approach. And we also had deal with some issues in the courts recently, as 2 days ago, that we're going to have to take a look at. I can assure you we will remain diligent in our efforts to curb its use in the quarter horse. Additional advancements for animal welfare include continuous evaluation of tack and equipment and whether its use is considered appropriate for training or showing. We've modified this AQHA stewards program, and we also have developed a new animal welfare page many of you may be familiar with on AQHA.com. As most of you also know, we took a strong position and eliminated the use of lip chains at AQHA events starting this year in 2016. This was done for the benefit of our horses and to ensure new owners and members in our industry that they see the importance of welfare in a quarter horse. I was pleased to work with AQHA members and longtime halter exhibitors, as well as leaders of AQHA Alliance Partner, the World Conformation Horse Association, to review potential options and alternatives. While the use of lip chains remains unacceptable, the Executive Committee approved a humane alternative, the lip cord, in amateur and open halter classes for stallions ages 1 year old and older only. We are proud of this example of working together as an industry to find solutions that work for our breed and for our exhibitors. Changes were made this year to the AQHA Stewards Program to improve the function in the industry. Under the AQHA Stewards Program modification, stewards were assigned to specific regions. They're no longer permitted to actively show in AQHA competition, and they're also required to attend steward seminars to expand their knowledge on animal welfare. Additionally, the number of stewards has been reduced to allow for more continuity in stewardship decisions. Members can now review a new animal welfare web page on AQHA.com that contains a list of violations and suspensions, along with newly approved fines and penalties. The animal welfare page further discusses additional animal welfare initiatives, including the AQHA Stewards Program, owner responsibility, and much more. In the future, our goal to continue to educate both members and non-members on the issue of animal welfare. It's a big priority for us. It's our responsibility to protect the safety and welfare of our horses and horsemen for benefit of the whole industry. As we have seen our industry evolve dramatically over the past decade, we continue to change our business model to remain fiscally responsible. I'm proud of the expansion of AQHA into different entities. The Rob and Glen pedigrees and the awards recognition concepts, or we refer to as ARC. I'm very proud of these additions. I'm also proud to announce that operating revenues and expenses have remained stable compared to prior year. We continue to reinvest in our association and our ability to build a foundation for the future. Last year, I know many of you joined us in being very pleased about the report from the United States Court of Appeals for the Fifth Circuit when they issued its opinion in cloning lawsuit. The opinion reduced the district court's judgment and held the plaintiff's claims against AQHA that they failed both because the plaintiff's evidence did not prove a conspiracy to restrain trade and because AQHA is not a competitor and allegedly relevant in the allegedly relevant market of elite quarter horses. After the Fifth Circuit issued such an opinion, the plaintiffs filed a petition for rehearing. This past October, we were pleased to report that the Fifth Circuit entered an order denying the plaintiff's petition for rehearing and leaving intact its previously issued well-reasoned opinion in favor of AQHA. And I can personally assure y'all that that's a very intimidating environment at the Fifth Circuit. Very intimidating. Thank you to our staff and all of our legal teams. We just had great support there. I mean, hours of work went into that. I promise you. They just countless hours in support of fighting our AQHA's position that when members with shared interests, goals, and values come together to form a voluntary private association to serve a common purpose, such members have a right to determine the rules of the association. The decision by the Fifth Circuit allowed us to focus on growing registrations, transfers, membership, and other activities that were important to you, our members, and the future of our association. Because that, you've heard it many times, but we had countless hours involved in that lawsuit. I'm glad it's all behind us. Last year we spent time completing an in-depth survey of our membership to obtain important demographic information. Along with that, asking questions about buying habits and preferences for certain brands and stores in the United States. We were honored by the great many of you that took the time out of your busy schedule to complete this survey and support the endeavors of the survey. I think Lauren shared yesterday that the average time spent completing that survey was up 45 minutes or so. So it's a pretty lengthy deal, and we really appreciate it very much. In reviewing the research, we learned many things about you, our current members, and also found our eyes open to areas of potential growth and opportunity in our association's future. The data on spending habits, for example, is very valuable to both current and potential sponsors of AQHA. We plan to use it to continue creating the best member benefits package possible for you, our members. After all, the AQHA would not be where it is today without our great horse, valued members like you, and generous corporate partners. Those of you that know me well know that I'm a man who lives and breathes the American quarter horse. This horse has been my livelihood for a long time, as I reflected on earlier. It's helped raise my children and created for my wife Karen and me and my family. It just goes beyond the bond of blood, actually, in our family. I always knew the American quarter horse family was important, but during but during my presidential year, I learned it had tremendous significance. Many of you know that Karen was involved in a terrible car accident. The end of September that almost took her life. And over these past 5 months, of her recovery, my family and I truly believe, gosh, all the phone calls, emails, text messages, and most importantly, the prayers that came from everyone has proven to be a remarkable gift in a way that I never expected to need. I sincerely thank each and every one of you who reached out, who prayed, and because of your friendship and support, it made tremendous difference. I was just, our whole family was just overwhelmed, like the support we had. It was just amazing. This great American quarter horse that bonds us all together in life has proven to be a remarkable gift in a way I never expected. I'm glad that I've got that part of it behind me now. There are a lot of people I'd like to thank for helping me while I was on the executive committee and during my term as president. You know, all the fellow EC past and present members, Gene Graves and his wife Barbara, Johnny Dobbs, of course, our good friends Johnny and Jana Trotter, George Phillips and his wife Nicole, Sandy Arledge, Ralph Seekins and his wife Connie, and Jim Hurd and his wife Eleanor, Stan and his Weaver and his wife Nancy. Of course, my family are important. Karen's here. My daughter Brandy, her family's here with her, but Brandy's down here sitting next to Karen. Many of you got acquainted with her over the stuff she was writing on Carrying Bridge during the illness, but since the accident. But anyway, I appreciate her coming and all she did through the whole process. And y'all are all friends in the room. I mean, I thank y'all very much. The AQHA staff just been tremendous. We've had a lot of changes. You know, I want to thank Don Treadway and Jackie Payne, who I worked with prior to this past year, for all the work and assistance they provided. And I also want to reach out and thank the Investment Oversight Committee. It's a very important committee within our association, and Johnny Trotter served as chairman of that committee this past year, and other members, Steve Stevens, past president Steve Stevens, and past president Jim Shoemake, past president Jim Barton, past president Martin Clark. These folks really provide tremendous advice, counsel, and support for our financial future of this association, and I want to thank them. And there's one final individual that I haven't mentioned yet that I want to thank, who's been a huge part of my success during this presidential year. So at this time, I would like to ask AQHA Executive Vice President Craig Huffines if he'll step over here to the podium. I'd like to take a moment to recognize a man who has the knowledge and skills and ability to take the American Quarter Horse Association to new heights. He has been instrumental in making much of the progress I mentioned earlier. He has spent the past year traveling all over the country to learn about AQHA and our members. The AQHA staff, I want to say they love him, but I know they really like him. Our members respect him, and I'm proud to call him my friend. And Craig, the executive committee, and I want to present you with a Montana Silversmith's buckle as a token of our appreciation and a constant reminder that we believe in you and your ability to take this association into the future. And also, Mary John, you're probably not going to like me for saying this, but or recognizing you. Where are you at? Is she in here somewhere? There she is. Craig's wife, Mary John. Way back to back. Appreciate you very much. In closing, I've truly enjoyed serving as your 2015 AQHA president, as well as being on the executive committee. I will continue to support the American Quarter Horse industry for years to come, and hope each and every year one of you can unite in our shared passion. It's my hope that we do as our founding fathers did 75 years ago, join together for a common goal. Whether you're involved in racing, showing, ranching, trail riding, or just love the American Quarter Horse, you're a part of this great association, an association built to preserve the American Quarter Horse. It's truly our duty to do what's best for the future of our breed. And we must work together to move the association forward. Thank you for allowing me to serve as your 2015 AQHA president, and I look forward to seeing the bright future of this great association.